Build your better breakfast at Subway with the tasty 250 combo, a 16-ounce cup of freshly brewed Seattle's best coffee, and any delicious egg muffin melt. And don't hit the snooze on this deal. Right now, come in before 11 a.m. for a $5 foot-long breakfast sub. Subway, eat fresh. The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
this is the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
It might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the sports guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The BS Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report. Taping this intro after the fact. We did Week 10 Lines with Cousin Sal, and then at the 45-minute mark, I called my buddy House to get his tale of woe from taking his young child to the Capitals game yesterday. Comedy ensued, and then we talked some NBA after that as well. I did want to point out that when Sal and I taped our football talk, Wade Phillips had not been fired as the Cowboys coach, and now Sal is working for Jimmy Kimmel Live and is unable to tape a little follow-up action. So keep it in mind. We thought he might get fired, but we didn't know for sure. Anyway, here it is, calling Cousin Sal right now. A lot of people wondering if Cousin Sal was still alive after yet another devastating Dallas loss, but he's alive, and he's on the Subway Fresh Take hotline right now. What's happening?
What's happening, Bill? Yeah, I noticed we do this on a Monday when the Cowboys play Sunday night, miserable game. You want to capture my oh my God, I can't even speak. I'm so overwhelmed.
Well, last night had the added bonus of you and I were going head to head in our West Coast Fantasy League.
Oh yeah.
And I needed a pretty big day from the Packers defense, and you needed a mildly good day from Miles Austin. It really came down to those two. And
I was up 7 points on you. You had Packers and defense and Crosby, and I had Austin. Yeah.
Right. And not to tell a long, boring fantasy story, but it really came down to Wade Phillips using all his challenges and then not being able to challenge the Packers' defensive touchdown that got me 7 points. So not only was he killing your team, he actually decided to also kill your fantasy team,
right,
which I appreciated.
The Packers' defense ended up being the best start of any player or thing for the week.
Except for Peyton Hillis, yeah. It was Peyton Hillis' Packers' defense.
Yeah.
You
know what, and I hate to, it sounds weird blaming the refs when you lose 45-7, but
yeah.
Probably the worst call of the year was, I think, in the third quarter when we were called for 12 men on the field. And I have a problem with that because there are no men on that field, Bill. I look, there's not even one. Forget 12. There are guys in their 20s and 30s wearing Cowboys uniforms, but they are gutless, soft, underachieving boys who forgot how to play the game of football somewhere between training camp and week 8. So,
what about that Mike Jenkins, who every time they threw on him, they completed it, and then they had that play near the end zone during the blowout, and he just kind of wrapped up the guy a little bit, but let the guy run in, and Chris Collinsworth was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I was like, just wave the guy right there. Just get rid of him.
I like it. And they should. And, I think the press conference is at 5 Eastern, so if we could stay on the line for 4 hours, we could be there for the big decision. But I think Wade's got to go. And, I agreed with a lot of what people were saying, that doesn't make sense. If you're not going to hire the coach you're going to use next year, what's the sense? Let's just let Phillips ride it out. But, at this point, we need a guy in there who's going to inspire the guys to lose by 2 touchdowns, not 40 points each game. Because, let me tell you, at the Giants, at the Colts versus New Orleans, 2 against Philly, there's no reason to believe we won't lose those games in the same embarrassing fashion as we did yesterday.
See, I would keep him and go for the number 1 pick.
Well, we're going to get the number 1 pick either way. I just don't want to lose by 40. Let's just lose by 14 every game.
They should have gotten rid of him 2 weeks ago. The Giants game and the Romo and just the way that team collapsed, it was time for him to go. What I don't understand is when we were growing up, teams fired coaches during the season all the time.
Right.
And a lot of times it worked. And that for some reason, everybody is hesitant now to do this because I think another team that could really think about it is the Texans. I feel like they've underachieved.
Yeah, they sure have. And it's just when you say it worked, it could work and the team doesn't make the playoffs. No one's expecting the Cowboys to make the playoffs under a new coach, but there has to be some some life injected into him, something. And, you bring up Collinsworth. I love the guy, and I appreciate his insight. But, saying throw Jason Garrett in there, like, see if he's got what it takes. Like, he's got to go, too. It's like you don't send one Menendez brother to jail. Like, they both got to go. Like, we're not scoring any points. So, and we have all pros all over the place. So
I like that you compared Wade Phillips and Jason Garrett to the Menendez brothers, and it worked.
It did work, right?
Yeah, that was good. As a Patriots fan, who people forget, there was, for the first 3/4 of my life, the Patriots were terrible. And we were in this situation a lot with a really bad coach who it became pretty clear that the team had quit on the coach. And I don't think there was ever a case where we got rid of the coach where I didn't say afterwards, man, we cut the cord too soon. Yeah. Like I'm looking at right now, Ron Meyer got fired in the middle of the 1984 season, and we brought in Raymond Berry, who was basically, did nothing. He was just like a Hall of Famer. Not really an X and O's guy, but like a guy who the players respected. And within a year, they were in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Another good example. Well, I mean, that was the only time the Pats fired a coach during the season of my lifetime. But we had coaches like Dick McPherson went 2-14 in 1992. It became obvious they should have gotten rid of him, but they didn't. Mm. You just kind of know when you're a coach when it's not going to happen.
Well, and our coach, Wade Phillips, is dropping hints. Like last week he said, I don't know how to fix. If I knew how to fix this, I would. Like, all right, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
And then yesterday he said, I don't even know who we're playing next. Like, this guy wants to be fired. And I really feel more and more bad for the guy as the weeks go on, as I see how these players are just so soft and inexcusable head case errors. But he just now it's like put him out of his misery. I don't even hate him anymore.
Well, and then the other thing is, I think Norv Turner is somewhat of a similar situation because you could have made a lot of the same cases against him, and they started out slow and same kind of screw ups, but he had a history of his teams getting better as the season went along.
Yeah,
it's
a weird thing when your team is ranked number one in offense and defense, and you can't win games. I don't know if you blame the coach there or what's to happen, but that was the case with the Chargers.
Wade's teams seem to have a tendency to go backwards.
Yeah.
So in Denver, he was 9-7 in '93, 7-9 in '94. They got rid of him. Buffalo 10-6, 11-5, 8-8. They got rid of him. Dallas 13-3, 9-7, 11-5, 1-7.
Yeah. Oof. I mean, they say that. I mean, aside from this one losing season in the last 12. So, but I mean, when he can't even argue that he should stay, it's time.
Yeah. One more thing. Des Bryant, I think, heats up when the game gets out of hand. Mm. We had Deion Sanders was prime time. I think we call him garbage time.
Ooh, I like that.
You like that? Des garbage time Bryant.
Yeah, but, I mean, let me tell you something. This guy, I say cut everyone except Des Bryant. I know what you're saying with the garbage time stats, but
yeah,
he could end up with 10 touchdowns with John Kitna as his quarterback, and that could be enough for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Let's talk, we watched the games together yesterday.
Yeah.
There was so much happening. I didn't really fully appreciate how ridiculous the Minnesota and Jets comebacks were. Both of those teams were down by 2 scores. The Vikings, I think there was 4 or 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
And the Jets, the Lions had the ball twice, up 10 at the 8-minute mark and the 5-minute mark with a chance to just finish it. And then, I was watching, DirecTV has those shortcuts where you can watch play by play, which I think is fantastic. And I was watching the fourth quarters of those games. It's really, the odds of just individually those comebacks were 1 out of 20, I think. Yeah. And then to have them happen basically simultaneously was a little bit crazy.
And it stinks with the Favre thing. I think a lot of us are in the same boat with him. He had an interception run back to the 2 when it was punched. That game could have been more out of hand than it was. And
right.
And he ends up setting his own record for passing yards. And there he is again, celebrating. I don't know how it happens, but time management is not the strong suit for the Cardinals or the Lions, I think. The Lions passed on when they're trying to kill the clock, they passed and stopped it and gave
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think the Lions' loss was much tougher. The Cardinals had special teams touchdown. They got a Favre interception at the goal line. The Vikings kind of dominated that game, and it was crazy that the score was what it was in the fourth quarter. the Lions controlled the first 55 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
And then, the biggest play, I think, was like 3rd and 6 right after the 2-minute warning, and they just called a horrible rollout play with Stanton, the backup.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And incompletion stops the clock, so it chewed up 40 seconds, or they gave the Jets 40 extra seconds, basically. And then that was the one big play, and then the other one was that little screen pass to Tomlinson. The line guy just misses the tackle. I don't know what he was doing. Tomlinson's able to sneak around, not only gets first down, but gets out of bounds, and then they give him the late hit. So that was like a 30-yard swing. It's just that was a terrible loss. I know the Lions fans are depressed, but that was even depressing for a Lions fan, I think, that game.
Some of these young teams, it does seem like they do a lot and then just blow it at the end. I hate to draw a comparison to professional wrestling, but remember like Kurt Hennig when in the mid-'80s when he wasn't that good, and he fired up and he'd do everything to almost win the match, and then he turned to Fred Blassie and look, and then he get clocked and pinned. Oh, what are you doing? You made one stupid error towards
just
get together.
I have to go with an even better wrestling example.
Go ahead.
That was the Special Delivery Jones playbook.
Yeah, I guess so.
He was the master. He would control 12 of the 13 minutes of the match and then get distracted by some fan in the second row or the manager or the referee and then get the clothesline in the back.
Right, every time. You think they'd learn. Yeah, that's what we should call it, the SD Jones.
It really was. Yeah. And there was between him and Tony Atlas, just a subtle tinge of racism, I thought, with the way they handled those guys.
Yeah.
It was like they were never quite, them and Polish Power Ivan Putski, they were never quite smart enough to figure out how to finish off the match. It was a little distasteful. I remember
Atlas and Jones won a Battle Royal. They were the last two remaining. They flipped a coin. They were so close. They couldn't decide. They weren't even going to do it. So
let's hit the Week 10 lines. Right. And we're taping this on a Monday. We do not obviously have the Pittsburgh-Cincinnati result. Pittsburgh is favored by 5 in that game. And I think Pittsburgh's going to kill Cincinnati, especially because you look at what happened in the AFC East this week. Indy loses. The Patriots lose. Baltimore wins. And, I think let's say Pittsburgh kills Cincinnati tonight. Who's the number one team in the league, in your opinion?
If Pittsburgh kills Cincinnati? I think I still go Ravens. I still do. I think they're heating up at the right time defensively. This is what I mean about the Cowboys. It's the Ravens should be so old on defense, and how are they getting better as the year goes on? And Ed Reed only helps, and it doesn't matter if they're home or away. So I like them. Well,
that was the first really good game that they've played.
Yeah.
We had that on. We were at Happy Endings in Hollywood, and we had 3 main games on the TVs. Unfortunately, one of them was Patriots-Cleveland. And Baltimore it was one of those games within 5 minutes you just kind of knew.
Yeah.
It was like we had it on and we were interested in it, but there was never any doubt that Baltimore was going to win that game. I'm looking at their schedule right now. Oh, no, that's the wrong team. Hold on one second. I think that was their second blowout win, but the first one was the Denver game.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Denver 31-17. But that game actually, I remember Denver kind of hanging around in that game.
Right.
This game, there was no hanging around.
They have 4 picks, and Ed Reed has 3 of them, and he's only been back a couple of weeks. So I think they're starting to play their game where they get field position, they win the field position battle. Every time you look up, they're setting up for a field goal, and then it's 16-3 and late in the fourth, and it's too late for the other team.
Interesting wrinkle here, though. So. They're feeling great. Teams come together. They really whomped Miami. Now they had 4 days later. They got to go to Atlanta and play a Thursday night game.
Yeah, this is our first game. Baltimore at Atlanta.
Atlanta just played, a really good, exciting game against Tampa that Tampa could have won in the last couple minutes and called that awful LeGarrette Blount. Mm-hmm. That was just horrible. I don't know what to make. I don't know what to make of that Thursday game. Because I think Baltimore is going to be, in better shape than Atlanta. Atlanta, that was a pretty grueling game.
Yeah, and it almost, they had to play every minute of that game. So. Yeah,
Baltimore got to basically check out in the fourth quarter. It was pretty clear they're going to win. Mm-hmm. But I think, it's definitely Pittsburgh and Baltimore, 1-2 in some order. But both teams Pittsburgh's got the Pats coming in next week. Pats off a loss. And then and then Baltimore's Atlanta game. So who knows? We might see not even one of those two teams as the number one team in a week.
Well, that division, like you said, they play. Wait a minute, they play the AFC East and the NFC South. Is that how it goes? I think that's it. They definitely play the NFC South.
That's what it is.
I mean, those are two divisions you don't want to play. So, yeah, I think they're the two best, but they could end up 10-6. So.
Well, the Giants, their offense has been fantastic the last 4 weeks. You don't feel like they're a number one team, do you?
I don't know why. I have such a bias against the Giants. I hate them so much being a Cowboys fan. So they can win 3 Super Bowls in a row, and I'd put them 12th in the power poll. But I have to see a little more from their defense against a good team before I sign off on them being an elite.
Look at this schedule fairy really showed up for the Giants. They got that home game Sunday night against the Bears when the Bears' offensive line was in shambles.
Yeah.
And at that point, we didn't know the Giants were good. At Houston the following week. That's a pretty tough game. Houston was playing all right. Home for Detroit, which Stafford wasn't back yet. Kind of an ugly game. They pulled it out. Now they get Dallas. They get who they killed, and Dallas came back to make it a little close at the end.
Yeah.
Then bye week at Seattle, Charlie Whitehurst, who was 1,000 times worse than I thought he was going to be. Wow, is he terrible. Oh, my God. I almost put Seattle in my Vegas Super Contest pick, and I held off because I was like, I've never seen Charlie Whitehurst play. I'm not sure if he's terrible or not. Well, I have my answer. He's terrible.
He was bad. I mean, you watch Almost Famous, and he's the lead singer of that band. You're like, all right, maybe he could lead Seattle to victory. But, yeah, my cousin Jimmy asked me he had me help him with he's in Sports Illustrated. He listed his picks this week, and I had Seattle. I was like, really? I was like, I have a weird feeling about this.
Yeah, it was a weird feeling, all right. He looked a little like James Brolin in Amityville Horror, a little bit like Jesus Christ, just a tiny bit. So anyway,
a little better, I think.
So listen to this. Now the Giants have Dallas this week.
Yeah.
So they get Dallas two times in 3 weeks, or 2 times in 4 weeks, as Dallas is imploding as much as any team has imploded in the NFL the last couple of years.
They killed our quarterback, and now they reap the benefits 2 out of 3 weeks.
So they could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, be 7-2, and going into Week 11, which would be at Philly Sunday night on NBC. But out of the 7 games, they had Carolina, terrible quarterback. They had the Jay Cutler, no offensive line, got sacked. Sean Hill, two gimme games against Dallas, and Charlie Whitehurst. So I don't know what to make of that team.
I like where you're going with it. I'd love for that team to fail. I love it.
All right, let's go to that Thursday night game.
All right, so Baltimore at Atlanta. Yeah, so this is it. Thursday nights, the rest of the year, we have a game.
A couple times a year, I warn you that I'm going to be aces during the week. Just be nailing stuff. This is one of those weeks, Sal.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I feel very good about this week. Atlanta is going to be favored by 2.5 at home against the Ravens.
All right. You couldn't say 3 because I said 3, and it's only 1. So you get it.
Wow.
You're closer.
A 1?
Yeah, they're begging you to take Atlanta, right?
What is the history? I seem to remember the Thursday night home team. If anybody listening out there has seen a stat on this since they went to this Thursday night thing, I'd love to know the Thursday night home team.
It's supposed to be good, right?
Yeah, I would think it would be really good.
Yeah.
It's a lot to ask to go on the road 4 days after you've already played.
Yeah, this is a weird one. I have to say, though, you and I were complaining, well, first of all, they were really good early games yesterday.
Yeah, really good.
Now that there's a Thursday game, there's still 8 early games. Oh, no, wait, there's 7. There's 7 early games Sunday and still 3 late afternoon games. They have to be more late afternoon games. You get too dizzy in the morning, right?
Yeah, piggybacking your point. We've noticed that for whatever reason, I don't think every year has been like this, but they've done it this specific season, that they're just loading the early games. And then late games, there's always 3. And out of those 3, there's always 1 blowout. And one kind of half-hearted, it's all right, but it's not great. And then there's one
teams
decent
you don't care about, yeah.
Yeah. And, for example, yesterday, Arizona goes to Minnesota. That easily could have been a 4 o'clock game.
Right.
Same thing for Tampa at Atlanta. I don't understand why they're loading the front. And I know they have that CBS Fox, and CBS gets the exclusive game or whatever, but I don't know. Having 8 games going off at the same time. Yesterday was really tough to follow what was going on.
Well, here's the thing about the exclusive game. Yeah, if you're down to 3 games, you don't care about one, the other's a blowout. You can go home and watch the national game, which is the Colts-Eagles. You could find that, like, I mean, the NFL is forcing us to leave the bar and go home to our families, and it's just not right.
How dare they?
Yeah.
I think Pats-Browns could have been a 4 o'clock. I think Jets-Lions could have been 4 o'clock. Anyway.
Yeah. So now they have a Thursday game and still 3 late afternoon Sunday. I don't like it. But, all right, so you get that one.
Thank you.
Sunday, Jets at Cleveland. Another grudge game for Mangini.
I'm so mad that I didn't pick the Browns on Friday. I was really just sick about it. It was such a homer pick to take the Pats. Well, it was really like I just wanted to root for it. That's why I picked them.
It just got out of hand early. I mean, well, all right.
It had all the makings. Classic trap game. Anyway, I had the Jets by 3.
Oh, come on. Can you give me one by myself here? I had the Jets by 3 also, and it's 3.
It should be 3. That should be the line.
Yeah, I know, but can't you guess it off by a half a point so I could jump out to a tie at least?
I'll tell you another thing. I like the Browns.
Colt McCoy, we can't say enough about him, right?
You were on it. You were on it 10 minutes before I was. Yeah. I didn't buy it right away when you threw it out, and I was like, nah, they've just been throwing deep passes and short ones. And then he probably made 3 plays where he pulled good plays out of plays that could have gone really bad.
Yeah, I mean he's rolling right, hitting guys diving, like 15 yards, crossing downfield. Like, wow.
You know another thing with him? There's a confidence about him.
Sure.
And I hate to I mention this from time to time, especially in the column, but with the QB, it just seems like so much of it is attitude and guys buying into this is the guy. Like you look at Kitna last night, and he was washed up 2 years ago and just has that look like, oh my God, I hope this isn't a complete disaster. And Colt McCoy, I felt like that whole game, he felt like they were going to win.
Yeah. Well, I think Kitna plays with a different kind of confidence. Like he's confident if he plays terribly, they'll have a new coach the next week. So.
That's a good point.
Different kind of confidence. But, yeah, I do like McCoy.
I'm happy for Cleveland because this Colt McCoy thing is probably the first good thing to happen to Cleveland sports in 4 months. Mm-hmm. And I hope this doesn't lead to him making a commercial in 7 years after he signs with the Giants. What should I do?
The Dolphins should sign him away somehow sometime next September.
Wait, so where did he go, 3rd round?
He was he a 3rd or a 2nd rounder?
I don't remember, but
might be right.
But I mean it's hard for me to believe that Jimmy Clausen went ahead of him, which I think he did.
I know it. You watch him play, and that guy doesn't move the ball at all.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Houston at Jacksonville.
Yeah, he was 3rd round. Houston at Jacksonville. This to me looks like a classic Jags by 3.
All right, I think I'm going to get this because I said it's a pick, and it's actually -1.
Jags -1?
Jags -1.
It's giving Houston a lot of credit there.
Yeah. I know both teams are 4-4, but it seems like neither has any inkling of a chance of making it to the playoffs, right?
So one of those teams, when by week 15 when we're doing our playoff pictures and 6 spots for 8 teams and blah, 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 and we half-heartedly have to throw in, the 9-5 Jags or the 8-6 Texans, even though we both, everybody knows they're not going to make it.
No, yeah,
whatever.
I don't think so. All right, Cincy at Indy. I imagine Cincy will get beat tonight, and then again next week, right? Colts 2 in a row.
I factored in the Cincy beating for this. Colts by 8.
All right, I get this one too. I said 6. It's 6.5.
Well, I probably shouldn't have factored in the Cincy beating then.
Yeah, I'll give you another chance if you want. You only won 7 out of 10 weeks.
I watched the Colts Eagles, the entire shortcuts, play after play after play this morning, and the Eagles really could have had like 50 points in that game.
Yeah, I know it. I was so lucky. Yeah, the Colts. I was screaming all week about how the Colts getting 3 is a robbery, and very lucky to cover that.
I think their first 3 field goals. So they scored a touchdown right away, and then had 3 field goals. And with all 3 field goals, they were inside the 10, 1st and goal, and all 3 times did not convert.
Yeah.
But I mean, that could have been like a 23-0 game by midway through the 2nd quarter, well before Austin Collie got knocked out and they had to throw the belated unnecessary roughness penalty, even though it wasn't unnecessary roughness.
And doesn't Vic look like he could just take off for 12 yards any time now?
Yeah, he looked great. I thought they looked great, and that was the most deceiving 2-point blowout I've watched in a while.
Yeah. All right. Detroit at Buffalo. This game's being played in Kabul, Afghanistan. Goodell looking to expand overseas.
I have this as Bills by 1.
I had 1.5, and it's 2.5.
Oh!
All right, good.
I initially had that 2.5, and then I thought, there's no way they could give more than a point when they're 0-8.
They are
right?
0-8.
You're killing me.
I mean, they were very close to. Did we ever figure out if a team had ever lost 3 consecutive games in overtime?
No, but we were excited for it.
Yeah, it almost happened.
Yeah.
Let me ask Joe Meade something. Is he there?
I'm here, Sal.
Here's my question. Okay, the dilemma is the Bills play half their remaining home games in Toronto forever, but Norwood's kick goes in. You sign off on it?
I'll take it.
What about the Bills move to Toronto, but Norwood's kick goes in?
I'll take that, too.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
We watched the game yesterday with our friend Powell's friend Chris, who is a diehard Bills fan, who just wanted to win. He wants them to get the number 1 pick, but also just wants to get on the board. And you just feel bad. You just feel bad for people who have horrible, horrible football teams. Like when you're watching them interact with the team on a televised game or whatever.
But if you're the number 1 pick, do you want to play for the Bills or the Cowboys? It's getting to the point where I don't know if this Cowboys team turned it around. Might be better off in Buffalo. Toronto.
Here's the difference, though. The next year's Cowboys team is going to have like a $7 million a year coach, and it's going to be either Bill Cowher or John Gruden, because you know that's the move Jones is going to make.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather play for that guy, in a sold-out stadium than that Buffalo situation. Although I will say Chan Gailey's a little better than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
Joe Meade, do you agree with that?
I like Chan Gailey.
He's been all right. I think they've kind of maximized the potential of that team, which isn't much.
There's something to be said about being in every game. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. All right, Carolina, Tampa Bay.
Hold on, one last thing on that Bills game.
Sorry.
One of the worst pushes of all time. The Bears and the Bills each score 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Neither team has a field goal or a safety, and the Bears win by 3. Because the Bills got a blocked PAT, missed a 2-point, and then the Bears got the 2-point.
Right.
So it basically came down that gambling push was decided by a 2-point, a missed 2-point, and a missed extra point.
Yeah.
Which is just like, how do you bounce back from that, Sal?
Hey, I didn't realize, was it after we switched from big screen to small screen? But you have Wes Welker on your fantasy team. You were playing me. He kicked an extra point.
I know. We didn't see it.
I would have strangled you if you won by a point against me. Oh, my God, would I have killed you hard.
But you know that happened somewhere in America. Somebody won on that Wes Welker PAT. What would have happened if Sue made the extra point? Does that go to if you had the Lions defense?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right, let's keep going.
All right, Carolina, Tampa. And I hit this exactly, so...
Well, I'm going to hit it exactly, too. Bucks by 7.5.
You almost hit it exactly. It's 8.
It's killing me this week.
Yeah. They, I don't recognize anyone in that Panthers game. I showed you their stats. Like, who are these guys?
Sutton? Who is Sutton? Did we ever figure that out?
I don't know.
Who are we teasing the Bucks with?
Anybody. with Pacquiao. I
like the Bucks. I mean, they really could have won that Atlanta game. They were right there. They took the uppercut in the first quarter. They're down 14-0. Yeah. Rallied back, made a couple plays. They were right there. They had it.
Yep. I know you do like the Bucks, and in fact, you left me another message. This is really.
I was going to ask you about that if you're going to play that.
It's starting to get annoying, but I'll play it anyway. I've got a total man crush on Josh Freeman. If I had my way, Josh and I would rent the suite in the Palms Casino, watch the Real World Road Rules Challenge Marathon till the sun came up. Me and Josh Freeman. Then I could die in peace. Retweet, con.
Yeah, that's what I said. I remember leaving that.
Just odd, man. At the weirdest hours, too, 3:30 in the morning.
I'm getting readers now emailing me Josh Freeman, but spelling it Jaash Freeman.
like you would say it.
Yeah, well, like how you say I would say it. So it's good. It's come full circle.
So the one more thing with this game, now teams are starting to play each other for a second time, and Carolina lost to Tampa 20-7 back when they resembled an NFL team. So this really could get out of hand.
John Fox is getting left out of the whole coaches who should be fired conversation.
Yeah. You're right.
It's not like that team. You know,
I declared them the worst team, but it was hours before my team played. So
yeah, they're still the worst team.
Yeah, Minnesota at Chicago. I think you're going to get this one. Or at least beat me.
I think I am too. The problem is, I think the Bears suck and continue to think they suck, but for some reason, nobody else shares that opinion. So I'm going to say Bears by 1.5.
All right, you get it. I gave them way too much credit. I said Bears by 3, and it's a pick.
Yeah, see, I wanted to make it a pick, but it seems like the people believe in the Bears for some reason. I like Minnesota.
You know, we have to start looking for a team to bet against when they go on the road in the playoffs.
Yep.
Right now, I'm hoping it's Chicago. They're 5-3. If they were to win this,
you mean like they're a 6th seed?
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, I don't know how they would have to do it. You have to figure the NFC South is going to have 2 teams, and I think it would be Bears and Eagles maybe for the other wild card.
Oh, I can't wait to bet against the Chiefs. I hope they make it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we saw yesterday. That team's pretty sloppy. Like you make that many penalties,
but they might have a home game is the problem.
Ooh, good point.
Maybe they won't.
Yeah, but they'd have a home game against whoever doesn't finish first out of Pittsburgh, Baltimore, the Jets, or New England.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be underdogs by at least 4 in that game.
Baltimore at KC would be favored by 3 or so.
3.5, and I'd probably talk myself into KC because I don't trust Flacco.
All right, Tennessee at Miami.
Randy Moss.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm giving up on the Dolphins. I don't think Chad Henne's good. I realized it yesterday during that game. He's just not confident.
I don't like when they need to score points when they're behind. They're not fun to watch.
Too many mistakes this year from him. I gave him a lot of chances.
This is a huge game for them. I mean, if they're 3 out of the wild card with 7 left if they lose this one.
It's a must-win, and I think the Titans are better. And normally I would say Titans by 3, but I'm going to give the Dolphins a half point. Titans by 2.5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd get this.
Okay.
I said Dolphins by 3.5, and it's Dolphins by 2.5. You love the Titans.
I don't agree with that line.
Yeah.
I don't think the Dolphins are good.
I don't either, but I think they're buying into the must-win thing a lot.
The Dolphins aren't even a good home team.
No.
It's a must-win for the Titans, too.
Tennessee coming off a bye.
I like the Titans.
It's interesting. Can we talk about the spitting in the face thing for a second?
Yeah, enough with the spitting in the face.
Oh, you don't like it?
I don't like spitting in any context.
Oh, see, I mean, it's been part of my family tradition for years. You get out of a car and you're yelling at somebody. You spit, because if you hit somebody, you'd find, like this guy would be fined just as much spitting in his face for like a James Harrison helmet-to-helmet hit. I don't know.
Right. So you're pro spitting.
Yeah, I like spitting. I do.
Okay.
It sounds stupid, but I mean, you don't have retired players walking around woozy from concussions because they would someone spit in their face. I think this is the way to handle things.
All right.
Late afternoon games, of which there are 3. I'm sorry, maybe there are 4. Or maybe they did it right this time. KC at Denver.
That's a good one. Because if the Chiefs blow that one, and the Raiders do not play this week.
Right.
Chiefs lose. The
Raiders
Raiders
or Chargers don't play. New Orleans, Green Bay are the other 2.
The Chiefs lose. The Raiders are in a first-place tie going into Week 11. Amazing.
Well, I'm starting to get excited about this division, although I don't love watching any of these teams play.
I have the Chiefs by 3 points.
You have the Chiefs by 3.
In Denver, yeah.
I had Denver by 2, and it's a pick.
Oh.
I get that one, too. All right, this is shaping up.
You're going to win this week. Can you explain to me why the Chiefs wouldn't be favored by a field goal or close to it in Denver? What Denver has done to make anybody think they're going to win that game?
They still like Denver. Well, who do you think you think that Denver's better than the Raiders, or at least the same as the Raiders?
Raiders were home though. I thought home field played a huge part in that game yesterday.
Denver's home. What do you mean?
I'm saying I don't think Denver has the same home field advantage because I think that the fans are bummed out by that team. I don't think they trust the coach, and they can't run the ball. That team is bad.
I thought it would be a couple points. St. Louis at San Francisco.
I had trouble with this one. I went 49ers by 3. I don't feel good about it.
I said 49ers by 3 also, and it's 6. And that's dumb.
That seems high.
I mean, at some point, the 49ers can't be favored by 6 over teams that are 500, right?
I read a good article last week by some St. Louis guy named Bernie something who broke down why the Rams stayed away from Moss. Pretty compelling. They're definitely it's out of that Patriots mold of we don't want the bad apples. We'd rather just have the character guys. It was one of those decisions. I kind of liked it. Maybe like the Rams more.
We do we like he's a cancer. They got to get rid of him. No team likes him. He's a terrible clubhouse guy. Blah blah blah. And then only the Titans put in for him. Like, oh my God, how did everyone pass on Randy Moss?
I know. Charlie Villanueva just tweeted that you called Randy Moss a cancer.
Oh, I didn't mean that. I forgot. I'm sorry. I meant.
No, listen. I am not holding back on using the word cancer to describe somebody like Randy Moss. I mean, for God's sakes, the politically correct society needs to calm down. And by the way, then what do? Do we change the name for suicide pools? Like, how far does this go?
No, we can't do that. We can't do that.
Stupid. People need to settle down.
Seattle at Arizona.
Seattle at Arizona. Are we going to have Chaz Whitehurst to this?
It might be. Seattle, this is also a second game for these two. Seattle won 22-10 only 3 weeks ago.
I like the Cards by 3.5.
You get this. I said the Cards by 6.5. That was too high. That was dumb. It's 3. And I like Arizona about as much as anyone could like Arizona this week.
Did you clinch?
8-5, 3 games left.
Okay.
But I you know what, I kind of did because I picked one exactly. But all right, let's do Dallas at the Giants.
Oh. I was shocked by my guess on this. I had the Giants by 13.
Okay. I had 37.5, and it's 39. Now, I had 14, and it's 10.5. So you win that one.
That's too low.
You bet the Giants, you win that one.
All right, so 3-team teaser. Giants, Bucks, who's the third? We haven't done one in 2 months. We got her.
The Colts, getting 3.5 against Cincy.
Oh, that's pretty good, too. Giants, Bucks, Colts. Who screws us on that?
Not the Giants.
Oh.
Not the Giants.
We could also bring the Eagles down, too. Let's do the rest of the lines. We'll talk about it.
All right, New England at Pittsburgh, Sunday night.
Pittsburgh by 3.5. Done.
See, I got this exactly. It's Pittsburgh by 4.
Oh.
So I win the week.
Not a lot of – congratulations. Not a lot of –
You like your team in this game.
I don't. I did not like what I saw yesterday. And it went beyond just a bad game. Like, I think a physical running team, I think, is going to and, this is what Minnesota had going the week before, and they kind of got away from it. It's not like Peterson was getting, stonewalled.
Yeah.
They're a little bit undersized up front. And we talked about it yesterday. Brady was terrible yesterday.
He didn't look
the
good.
Passes were he was either grounding them or sailing them over people's heads, and it's like I'm a little concerned.
I think it's just one of those. I think you chalk it up to one of those games. Like
I hope
Branch
so.
almost wasn't going to play. You have third stringers running around anyway, and they'll be back in sync. Why does Pittsburgh get 3 night games in a row?
Roethlisberger, sex sells.
They knew right away when he comes back. All right. So I went on Monday night, Philly at Washington.
Eagles by 3.
Yeah, you got that one exactly. I was
Thank
way
you.
off. I was like 4.5 points off. I said Washington by 1.5. Why is Philly favored by 3?
Philly might be good. I mean, as we talked about earlier, they could have had 45, 50 points in that Indy game.
They played.
I think they're undefeated with Vic.
Washington
right?
won 17-12 when they played a month ago or
yeah,
more.
but Vic got hurt though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Shanahan's plan is here, but he can't deny us McNabb versus the Eagles, right? Isn't this what ESPN signed up for?
Did you take any credence into what Warren Sapp said on the Inside the NFL? One of the few interesting points I've heard him make on that show.
I missed it. What did he say? Were his eyes wide open?
His eyes were wide open. He bulged them a few times. He made the point that what Shanahan did to McNabb, the way football teams work, is that you build confidence in guys that are the leaders of your team. And what the coach did to the quarterback, he undermined that confidence, and now they all feel like, well, if he did that to McNabb, well, then am I next?
Right. Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty interesting. I've never played on a football team, so
that's true. And Sims said, players come back from this with coaches all the time. Yeah.
And then Collinsworth said, guys, I'm not so sure that McNabb can't come back from this.
Now, we got to get Collinsworth to do a Bill Simmons impression. Then it becomes full circle.
Maybe I could interview him where he's doing an impression of me and I'm doing an impression of him.
That would be great.
Jameed, for the holidays, we're going to have a Simmons off. Because Sal thinks he does the best impersonation. So we're going to have everybody who does an imitation of me all come on, American Idol style. And we're going to have judges, and we're going to do it correctly.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm even going to lose 85 pounds for the event.
Is everyone going to write their own material, or is this going to be like reading Christmas stories?
No. We're going to give them a paragraph to read. They can't freelance because I think the material would sway the imitation.
Oh, no. That's, of course, it's got to be. That's all counted in. What, are you kidding?
You think so?
Yeah.
All right. You know what? I'm going to let you work on this.
Yeah.
Because you like to do
How
stuff
about you write everyone's material?
Okay.
One last thing. You have your Character of the Year awards.
Yeah.
That you hand out every year. And we had an early favorite with Mike August.
Right.
The guy who runs Corolla's podcast network and all that stuff. And it seemed like he was really proceeding toward an easy victory.
Looking good.
Then Josh Gardner, our friend who I don't even know if his job can be defined because he doesn't have one.
Yeah. He moved away, now lives in Maine. He took off from this comedy career.
Part-time entertainer, comedian, I guess?
Yeah. Funniest guy I know, really. Really, really funniest guy I know. Like,
funny, yeah.
Accidentally, anything that comes out of his mouth is hilarious, the funniest thing you've ever heard. I know it's all hyperbole, but you have to trust me.
There's different types of funny, and there's like in the room funny versus watching on TV funny or in a nightclub funny, and he's in the room funny. It goes against anybody. Mm-hmm. But for some reason that hasn't translated into any financial success at all for Josh.
Right.
But this weekend he opened up for Adam at the House of Blues in Boston and sang some of his songs.
Filthy songs, yeah.
Yeah, songs that I can't even say the titles to. And then afterwards, somehow ended up in Chinatown with the Dandy Warhols, and I'll leave it like that. Was never seen again after like 1:30 in the morning. And I think the August story of the night might have pushed him to number one right now with 2 months to go.
He's pretty good. And we're laughing about this, but we don't know if he has shown up. I mean, he's kind of missing, isn't he?
Is he officially missing?
Yeah, I don't think anyone talked to him after that. So. It'll be hilarious when we see him on the news.
So who are the other candidates, just out of curiosity, right now?
Well, our friend Brad, who storms out of the bar every other week because the suicide pool in which 750 people are left, he gets scared that he's going to lose. But
nobody has ever gotten more passionately involved with something that they had like a 0.03% chance of winning.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay, so he's up there. Who else?
I put Corolla up there, too. I mean, if you just listened to our podcast yesterday.
Yeah. If you go, we did a football podcast with him, and you can go to AdamCarolla.com.
And it really is football. Like, Bill, you and I today, like, we talk about other things, you know. I mean, keep it light, but it is super heavy on football, this podcast we did yesterday. All X's and O's. Oh, no, wait. No. It was 30 seconds about football.
Right. And he's taking it to another level with his book tour interview. So I think he's on there. Now, what about our cousin Jimmy?
Jimmy is, Jimmy I think is up there. He does some good things. It's his birthday this week. So.
I know.
So,
and anybody else?
We'll see what he's capable. Well, James Baby Doll Dixon, our agent, is always a candidate.
Yeah, there's been some good stories about him, too. All right, well, keep us posted because I think America's...
Just plug Jimmy Kimmel Live. Corolla is actually on tonight. And Neil Diamond, Kate Walsh, Danica Patrick, Harrison Ford, Baba Booey the rest of the week. So.
Can I put a small bet on Corolla wearing that same suit he's worn on his other 15 appearances?
It is off the line. Vegas is taking it off.
Wait, last thing. Are we recommending the Giants, Buccaneers, Colts tease?
Yes. 3-team teaser. But we don't. This is week 10. I think we've done 2 of these. So
Okay.
do it.
All right.
Lock it up before the Colts goes to 7.
All right, Cousin Sal. Talk to you next week.
All right, Billy. Take care.
All right, good job. We're going to call my friend House because he took his 14-week-old baby to the Capitals hockey game last night, and comedy ensued.
Hi, this is America's Worst Father.
What's happening?
What is happening?
All right, tell us the story. So, actually, let me set it up for you. You went to the Capitals game yesterday with your wife and your son, which I thought was great. I think it's great when fathers and sons spend time together. Unfortunately, your son's only 14 weeks old.
That's all true.
So what happened? Were you worried about doing this?
A little worried. We're looking for opportunities to start doing things as a family, and we have been out and about a fair amount. We live in the city, right downtown here in D.C., so we're able to walk around a fair bit, go to restaurants and stuff, and he's been in some fairly loud places so far.
Yeah.
And we've talked about, getting him out to sporting events because, that is my passion, and my wife enjoys it as well. And I have season tickets to the Caps. We love to rock the red. In fact, his mother yesterday, I had him in a red hoodie, and she changed him out of it and put him in this blue, like, Eskimo uniform, and I was really mad at her. But, of course, she was right because it was freezing cold.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she knew that I had tickets to this game, and she herself was kind of on the fence as to whether to go. And then she said, "You know what? Let's just bite the bullet and see how he does." And we talked about whether or not earplugs were necessary or earphones or something to cover up his ears.
Well, can I interject for a second?
Go ahead.
It's too bad you guys aren't friends with anybody who has kids. But what a shame. What a shame neither of you have anyone in your life who ever had a small child.
Well, we convinced each other that it was an okay try.
I'm sorry my cell phone was off all weekend.
It didn't go any further than us convincing each other.
Okay.
So we actually went down there sort of through the middle of the first period because, the hockey games tend to run about 3 hours, and his window is kind of like 2 hours and 15 minutes, 2.5 hours.
Yes.
So we thought, we want to maximize it. And that all worked out fine. We got in there, got him settled, and he started crying a little, and the din of the crowd was such that was kind of okay. You couldn't really tell it he was crying. It wasn't that big a deal.
Did you get any dirty looks?
Huh?
Did you get any dirty looks?
A lot of not dirty looks.
Bad parent looks?
Not really bad parent looks. There are a lot of folks with kids at these things of varying ages, and our kid is really long.
Yeah.
So it's not obvious that he is so young.
Okay.
He's like almost 30 inches long for 14 weeks, so he looks like he could be, approaching 6 months or so.
Okay.
But people asked, one person did ask, do you have earplugs for him? We were kind of like, no. And so, we're there for maybe 4 minutes before Eric Fair scores a slap shot from the wing. And, the place does what the place does. It goes bananas. It's a sellout on a Sunday afternoon. It's not competing against any other Washington sporting event, so it's a sellout. It's against the Flyers, so there's already, it's already hyped up. And when the Caps score goals, it's a 3-part, eruption. You get the crowd goes crazy. Everybody jumps to their feet. You get the foghorn immediately. And you get the sirens and everything, and the look on his face when that slap shot went in the back of the net, and the crowd, all leapt up and everything. I had to look away. I couldn't keep looking at him.
The siren killed him.
Well, the siren, the horn, and the crowd all together, all at once. His eyes got as big as I've ever seen them, and my wife, God bless her, covered up his ears. And he mainly managed through it. He cried a little bit. He didn't like it, but he soothed pretty quickly. But we knew that once we got him home and he was back kind of in comfortable environs, that we were going to be paying the price. And he had a nice long cry last night. He cried himself to sleep.
Okay.
But so lesson learned. I tweeted about, the experience, and most of the comments were pretty positive. People were pretty friendly about it. I mean, we didn't get too many negative knocks. Some folks volunteered these headphone, earphone things that that are specially made for kids that I think we're going to try again.
We did a similar thing with our daughter. We took her to a Clips game, and she's probably right around the same age. We didn't know the noise thing either, because your kids have they have bionic hearing when they're babies,
right?
And what you have to do is either put the hat over their head, or the hoodie, or you actually get the earplugs. And we found that out the hard way because it was an exciting game and the crowd went crazy, and they just can't. It's too much noise. It's too loud.
So that the fatal mistake for us was not taking him to a whiz game first. That would have been a nice way to introduce him to kind of that environment.
I would say a whiz game would almost be like nap time. It's so quiet in there.
I wouldn't go that far now.
You're down 15.
If John Wall's out there doing the Dougie.
Yeah, that's true.
People get revved up.
So anyway, the lesson for all you people who don't have kids out there yet and either have a kid on the way or plan on having one at some point, whether it's yours or an illegitimate one, bring the earplugs for that.
Bring the
You're
earplugs.
going to bring the baby to the game.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Wrong with bringing the baby to the game.
Nothing. Nothing. Got to bring. And actually, the best time to bring them is like the first 7 months. I mean, you don't want to do it in the first 2 months because they can get sick too easily and catch weird germs and stuff. But because they can't move, they're not they're not monkeys yet. They're not climbing on you and trying to get out of the way.
His mom had him in the Bjorn, and she even unclipped him a little, so it was not going to be a problem. We had the bottles, we had the diaper bag with the on-the-go changing mat and all that stuff. It was just the really traumatic noise that we didn't plan for.
We brought my daughter to a bunch of Clips games, and I think it ended when she turned probably like a year and a half, something like that. When they start getting restless and they'll kick the seat in front of them just to kick it and stuff like that. That's when it gets a little ugly.
Yeah,
and then you basically have to take a break.
We can't have him doing that at Cats games. It means he'll definitely grow up a basketball fan because we'll be able to bring him to Wizards games and he can kick the seat in front of him. There won't be anybody in it.
I brought her to another game when she was actually. You know what? I take that back. We stopped bringing her because her birthday was in May, and we didn't bring her when she got in that kick stage. I think we brought her when she was like 11 months and she was kicking around and stuff. But
so you retired her for what, 2 years?
Something like 2 years, and then I brought her when she must have been like, I don't know, 2.5 or 3. I wrote a column about her for the magazine.
Oh.
It was her first game where she was actually smart enough to kind of look at the scoreboard and ask questions and things like that, and that was really fun.
Yeah, that's fun. I'm looking forward to that.
But girls are ahead of boys, so I think we did that with her when she was 2.5, and boys. My boy just turned 3, and I wouldn't do that with him until probably another couple months because boys are just blockheads.
Has he gone to anything?
No.
You haven't taken him to anything?
Yeah, actually, we don't let him leave the house.
Well, I have seen him in full tilt.
We're still not sure he's not an axe murderer.
It's probably for the best.
You know what's fun with him is we call him the CEO. I've tweeted about this because he wakes up at 5:30.
Yeah.
Daylight savings time, good times with him when the clocks go backwards.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's normally getting up at 5:30, 5:45, but now it's an hour backwards, but he, it's not like he knows what daylight saving time is. So, yeah, 5 o'clock today.
Oh, 5 o'clock. No, wait.
Wide awake at 5 o'clock.
Doesn't that work to your benefit?
No. It works when it springs forward.
Oh, that's right.
Goes backwards, so it's 6 o'clock for him, but it's really 5 o'clock, and he's like, hey, guys, hey, slams the door. What's going on?
Right.
Can we put on a show? I'm hungry.
Yeah, the CEO.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
What are you going to do?
It's not easy.
No.
It does not get easier. Anyway, let's talk Wiz really quick.
Sure.
Gilbert came back.
Yeah.
Oh, he sounded sad.
Well, he's 10 pounds overweight. He put on 10 pounds in 3 weeks.
How's that possible?
Right. I mean, I love food, and I'm just a regular guy. Putting on it takes some effort to put on 10 pounds.
You think he got depressed by the John Wall fever?
I think he's been depressed, ever since the gun thing last fall, last winter.
So let's rank the most untradeable guys in the league right now, because Baron Davis is either 1 or 2.
He's not ahead of Gilbert.
Gilbert's got to be 1 still because of the contract. It's
right,
like $20 million a year or something like that. But I think Baron is the clear number 2.
I think Gilbert is motivated to do well, and so I think that he, whenever he can get himself in shape, will prove to be a nice compliment to John Wall, because I think Gilbert understands that he's auditioning for his next team. I don't think he has any pretension about staying in Washington for the long term, and I don't think Washington has. It suits everybody's interest. It's in everybody's mutual interest for Gilbert to do as well as he can and be as good a teammate as he can to John Wall, and to do and say the things that he said, like, this is John Wall's team. I'm just here to sort of support him and compliment him.
I think Cleveland makes sense for him. I've always thought that, and I still think it.
I don't think that. Why do you think that?
Say, if you watch them, in the last 2 minutes of a game, they have nobody to go to.
No, they go to Mo Williams. I watched the last 2 minutes of their game against the
exactly.
Wizards.
They go to Mo Williams.
Took over that game and beat the Wizards.
Okay, but that's going to happen 1 out of every 6 times.
Yeah, that's true. How does that help Cleveland? What identity does Cleveland is Cleveland looking to develop?
Cleveland has good basketball players. They just don't have the straw that stirs the drink guy.
I'm not sure.
Verjav's good.
He's okay.
I like Hickson. I like. He hasn't been great this year.
I watched them.
Jameson.
That game was in doubt. The Wizards and Cleveland were pretty even all the way until the last 2 minutes when Mo Williams took the game over. We're going to lose, by the way. We said the under for Cleveland. We're going to lose that because they are professional enough.
I'm not sold on that because they don't have enough good guys. They can't. They need everybody to play the 2 games.
Antoine Jamison didn't play on Saturday, and they still beat the Wiz. So whenever they face teams in that class, so it's like the Wizards, the Sixers, the Raptors, the T-Wolves, they'll beat all those teams.
It's a swollen class of crappiness this year.
That's true, but that translates into 10 or 12 or 15 games, and that means that for a team that only, the over-under was 29.5, I think, they only have to win 15 more. If they eat up the crap class, they only have to win another 15 to get to 30, and I think they're going to do that. You forget that playoff experience that a lot of those guys have, that translates in the regular season. They're pretty professional.
I need to see them a couple more times. There's a lot of bad teams, though.
The Cleveland stinks, but they might be like the least stinky of the stinkers.
What's your most shocking thing through 10 days, 11 days?
About the Wiz or in general?
In general, NBA. Most shocking.
Oklahoma City. They look like they regressed.
Yeah.
They're so soft inside.
You know what's interesting about them? And this is a stat that I just think should be a stat. They've been behind. I've personally watched games where they've been behind by 20 points. I think it happened against Celtics last night. It happened in the Clipper game. It happened the night before when they lost at home to Utah.
Yeah.
And in that Portland game, I think they were down like 15-16.
They were. They came back.
That is, when you fall behind by 15 or more in a basketball game, and it's happening again and again, no matter, I don't care if you come back or not, that's the sign of a real issue. Because if you're a really good team, you should be doing what the Lakers do and just taking care of business every night. You shouldn't be falling behind by 15, 20.
Do you agree with my assessment that they have real interior problems?
I think it goes deeper than that.
In what way?
I just think I think they had a lot of expectations, and it doesn't seem to me, and I saw them in person on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to me that they're playing with the same
joie de vivre?
Yeah, that they had last year. It's just
that happiness, the happy-go-lucky?
Durant's got the bullseye on him now, and he has a look on his face like he knows it. And
well, they're definitely not sneaking up on anybody.
And I thought the experience that he got in the World Championships would be awesome for him, and it actually kind of gave him a little too much confidence.
Oh, that's interesting.
And now it's like it almost seems like those two guys, last year was clear, Durant's our guy. Now it's like Westbrook's like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I don't know. It just seems it's a little off. I think it's fixable.
His stat line, Westbrook's stat line is terrific.
It's been really good, but it makes them different than what they were last year. Last year they had the natural hierarchy.
Well, I remember, you were on a soapbox all pre-trade deadline that they needed to go get a big
Camby.
guy, and that Camby was your recommended
Killed them.
insert there. They still haven't addressed that. They look worse this year inside in terms of getting tough rebounds. They don't have anybody to go get a tough rebound.
Well, I think the one thing I don't understand why they don't do is put Durant closer to the basket on defense. Because I like what I saw from him in the World Championships. I think he's good. I thought he was good in Texas. He's good when he's near the rim. He's a good rebounder. He's good at coming over and helping people. And I think it's a waste to have him 20 feet from the basket. I would play him at power forward all the time.
So he's defending the opposite team's three.
I would play him at center. I wrote this in August or September or whatever. I would go super small and play him at center with certain matchups. I think the Celtics would have had a real problem matching up with that last night.
That's interesting.
But here's what I think is the big issue. And this is something that hasn't become a story yet, but I think it's going to. They whiffed on that James Harden pick. He's not good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Maybe he'll be good at some point, but this is year 2. You're a rookie. Last year, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Transition, you're getting paid, you got blah, blah, blah. Year 2 is when you're supposed to start showing people that you're good. And that's when, especially in fantasy, you see the guys make the leap in year 2, and you always want to look for those year 2 guys. And he went backwards.
Yeah.
And his shooting percentages are awful, and he doesn't look confident to me.
Well, since that's his only discernible skill, that's a problem.
I watched him in person on Wednesday night, and I'm not sure what his skills are.
He's supposed to be a shooter. He's supposed to be a scorer.
He's supposed to be this fantastic role player who can play a couple positions, who can guard anybody, who drains the corner three, great athlete, fills in on the wing.
Yeah, let me tell you who his comp is.
Well, I'm going to say I have a name in mind too, and if it's the same name, this is not a good idea for James Harden's future.
Go ahead.
No, you say first.
Well, my name is Nick Young. I mean, that's who I see here in Washington that's supposed to fill that. Now, Nick Young was drafted in the 16 or 17 slot, so you don't expect a guy like that to come in and be a world beater, but his rep was athletic, scorer, able to make those threes from the corner, and
but he wasn't supposedly the defensive guy that Harden's supposed to be.
No, definitely not.
I have a much better name.
Okay.
Marvin Williams.
Oh, that's interesting.
And listen, James Harden is 21, and this might be a funk, and he might snap out of it. But I'm just talking about seeing the guy in person. And it was the same thing when I saw Marvin Williams the first couple of times, where I'm watching the guy going, why is this guy a top 3 pick again? Like, I feel like you have to have one skill that's just lights out.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a top 5 lottery pick. And Marvin Williams, I watch him, and I go, I don't know what this guy does well.
Yeah, the reaction I always had to Marvin Williams is, what position is he supposed to play? What's his best position?
Yeah, and if I have him out
of the NBA.
Well, it's you're a role player, but I think that's what Marvin Williams is. He's a role player, and that's why you don't draft him ahead of Chris Paul. And with the James Harden thing, it was a chemistry pick, and it filled the void, and it was somebody that they knew was going to be their third best player. But my thing is, if he's your third best player, I'm not sure you're winning anything.
Yeah, he better not be your third best player.
Well, then who's their third best player?
It's definitely Jeff Green.
But, I mean, don't you draft him hoping he's going to be better than Jeff Green?
Right. Where did Harden – what slot did he go in?
Went in third.
He did?
Yeah.
How did I forget that? He went third?
He went either third or fourth. I'm looking it up right now. But, I mean, yeah, he went third because here's the thing. And I defended it at the time, and I still kind of defend the logic now, but he went a spot ahead of Tariq Evans.
Oh, my.
And this was the pick that, and I've written about this, he went 4 spots ahead of Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
And that's the one that, that is like the fork in the road. What the hell would have happened if they took Curry instead of this guy? I think Curry would have made them a ridiculous offensive team.
Yeah, I mean, imagine having Curry on a perimeter with this team.
And he's also a good character guy, so it's not like he didn't fit into the whole Sam Presti blueprint. I think they just made an overrated Harden. And then the other thing with him is that his teams, when he was at Arizona State, I don't think his teams did well.
Yeah, I was never. I wasn't sold on him going into that draft, and he hasn't done anything to change the opinion.
And again, he's only 21. He turned 21 last August, and it's really freaking early with him. But he's 9 for 30, shooting 30%.
He's not the reason that they're sort of regressing this year.
But I'm talking more like from the big picture standpoint of like Carmelo Anthony, Darko, and when Detroit missed that one, and it was like they had a chance to really make their franchise not just short term but long term, and they missed it. And I'm really, let's say you put Tariq Evans on this team. And again, I'm not crazy about him, and I'm not sure. I think he'll make a couple All-Star teams, but I'm not sure that's somebody that's going to be the first or second best guy on a 60-win team ever. But if you put him on this team, a lot tougher to defend.
Yeah, I mean, it brings to that position an immediate threat that needs to be addressed.
So Harden in college, 2 years, 17.8 points the first year, and then 20.1 the second year. Average of 25.4 in the Pac-10 sophomore year. Mm-hmm. That's pretty good.
I think the Pac-10 stunk that year, didn't it?
Might have. 36% from three, 49% shooting. But, I mean, when they took Harden, people were a little perplexed. And Presti, because he's been so great and he's done such a great job, has gotten a little bit of a free pass. But here's my question to you, Joe House. Right now, Oklahoma City offers James Harden and Mo Peterson's expiring contract to Philly for Andre Iguodala. Who says no?
Philly.
Philly says no.
Because it's a capitulation. It means that they're acknowledging what I think is obvious to all the rest of us. But I think it's too early in the season for them to throw in the towel.
So they'd save $3 million this year. They would save $10 million next year, the difference in Harden and Iguodala. They'd go into the future with Evan Turner, number 2 in 2010, and James Harden, number 3 in 2009, plus Lou Williams and Drew Holiday. That's a pretty nice foundation. I would do that if I was Philly.
No, I like it. I just think that for right now, we're going to have to wait till the end of December when they're 8-20. And then that deal, then they're prepared to capitulate. Then they're prepared to throw in the towel.
Let's say Philly does it. Does Oklahoma City do it?
Oh, I think Oklahoma City would have to do it.
You have to do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, Andre Iguodala is a world-class defender.
Plus, Durant played with him.
Huh?
Durant played with him in the World Championships.
Right.
It's not like he doesn't know. Iguodala is one of the best 4 guys in that team.
It's a perfect situation for Iguodala.
I agree.
He needs to go to a team where it's clear that he's not going to touch the ball on the offensive end and be asked to do anything with it.
Reinvents his career.
That would be really interesting. I like that. It still doesn't address that big hole in the middle. I feel like that they need to address, but
you can do that,
though. Pressure off of that.
You can patchwork, find another big body at some point. To me, the bigger issue is, can you find yourself a third star to go with these 2 guys? I don't think Jeff Green is a star.
They need to get stops. They need to do something on the defensive end. They need to get somebody who can get the ball in a tough situation on the defensive end.
What about this? Now you're putting out Westbrook, Iguodala, and Durant, which was basically 3 of the 4 best guys in the World Championship team, right? Along with Odom.
Yep.
I don't know. I'd feel a lot differently about that team. If I was Oklahoma City, I'd even throw in one of the number 1 picks I have.
How many do they have?
I would nip this in the bud now. You know what? You got to sell. At some point, you got to give up something to get something. And Presti has been trying to patchwork this, but and let the guys grow and all that stuff. But man,
this is exactly the hard place that an NBA GM finds himself. He's saying, "What's the identity of my team right now? I've seen some things I don't like. Is there any danger that the team is going to acquire this identity and underperform all season long, or are they just working out the kinks?"
And also, maybe you've seen James Harden now for 15 months. Are you selling a little higher on him than maybe he's actually worth?
It's probably you probably need to move him now before he confirms what everybody might be thinking with 2 full seasons of underperforming at that 2 guard.
It's a tough one because he's 21 and he might just be in a funk.
Right.
But I watched him last year, and I wasn't totally impressed either. And
he had some moments last year, though.
Had some moments. But if I could turn him into Iguodala right now, I'd do it.
Well, I guess Philly. What's Philly telling its fans?
Listen, if you're rooting for the Sixers and you find out that your team has a chance to flip Iguodala for Harden and save some money and be in a much better position down the road with Elton Brand being your only bad contract, you're doing it.
Yeah, I think that's right. It definitely helps transform the profile from kind of, age-wise to a team that's trending younger. They have some interesting parts. Lou Williams is pretty good.
I like Lou Williams.
Me
Last
too.
thing, the Lakers look really good this year.
Yeah.
They
look like they're in cruise control, too.
They look dominant. And I think for me, the big difference, I know Blake is an upgrade, but I don't think that's why this is happening.
Yeah.
It seems to me that Odom is just on a whole other level. And the World Championships just transformed him. They basically have 3 of the top 18 to 20 guys in the league right now.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Odom's in the top 20 now.
I mean, the World Championships gave him an identity he didn't have before. And it looks like it really fits him. It suits him.
And
he's an old head now.
And Gasol is just at the top of his powers. Peak of his powers.
Well, you know what else is scary about the Lakers? It looks like the knee surgery that Kobe had was wildly successful.
I'll even go a step further.
Go ahead.
They killed Portland last night. He had 12 points. He didn't care.
Yeah.
Name me any point in his career where he didn't care that 3 other people on his team had a much better game than him.
The Game 7 that he threw against Phoenix.
But he cared. Well, that yeah. But I mean, you look at that box score last night, and I'm calling it up right now. And of course, it's taking a while to load.
I've been really impressed by them. You know, I have to say, really impressed by your team too.
But let's see who's still healthy in April. I'm not going to get too excited.
That's the annual thing with your team.
Kobe plays 25 minutes last night, 3 for 11, 12 points, and was totally fine with it.
That's a scary, scary line.
Yeah.
And they blew
Didn't care.
out, didn't they?
Didn't care. Guarded Brandon Roy on defense, did his thing, and I think he had one more game like this.
Is Bynum back? No, Bynum's not back yet.
They killed Golden State on Halloween. They won by 24, 27 points, or 27 minutes, 20 points. The only really great statistical game he had was the triple-double in Sacramento, and they needed it because Sacramento was playing pretty well that game.
Yeah.
But it just seems to me like he's finally reached that point in his career that we've always wondered if he would ever hit, which is, I don't care about my numbers. I'm just glad we're winning.
Well, and
it's a little frightening.
He has every reason to feel that way. It's a very well conceived team. It's a very well put together team.
And they don't miss no Bynum. They don't have Bynum.
That's what I'm saying.
Bynum might screw him up.
I don't know. 20 minutes off the bench.
You can't play better than how they're playing right now.
At some point, this is also scary. Bynum should be spelling Odom, so when Bynum comes back, because Odom needs to rest, The World Championship fatigue is going to set in with all these guys. I mean, guys who've been playing basketball really since, July, competitive basketball. All those guys are going to need blows here coming up.
Odom's had a remarkable career. He's been somebody that I personally counted out a bunch of times.
Yeah, right.
And somebody then I was immediately back in on again, It's just he's changed forms a couple times. Well, there are times when I felt, oh God.
No, I was going to say, even within individual seasons, you can be out on him and then back in on him.
The crazy thing with him is he's not even 31 yet. He's 30.
Is that true?
Yeah, he's 30.
Wow.
Been in the league 11 seasons. He has amazingly not ever made an All-Star team. He made All-Rookie and that's it.
Yeah,
well, it was his birthday on Saturday, actually. He turned 31.
Oh, there you go.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Lamar Odom.
Right.
But yeah, he's been incredible this season, and I think there's a real chance the Lakers could have 3 All-Stars.
Well, I don't remember. Did we predict the over or the under for them?
We went under. We thought it was going to be one of those years where they're banged up and they kind of they give up. But we also overrated Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
We did a bad job.
That was dumb. The Lakers might be the team that sniffs between 65 and 70 wins.
Oh yeah,
right.
No, I mean they're going to get the only team that we really missed on was New Orleans, which neither of us saw coming. We forgot that Chris Paul is the best point guard alive.
Did we pick the under for them? I think we might have missed sort of the reintroduction of Chris Paul and how that would translate into them being successful. I still think we picked the over for them, though.
We might have, just because I'm looking at it right now. It seemed like he was unhappy, you know? That was the thing I took away from it. Like, just this summer, it was like he seemed like he was in that Carmelo range of was he going to be happy? What if things go south the first month? That kind of stuff. And
well, to his credit and to Carmelo's credit, both those guys look like they put their noses down and are playing hard for their teams.
Right.
Because that Denver-Dallas game, was it Saturday? It was a good game. I like Denver.
I have the over-unders right here.
Okay.
We went over for New Orleans. 40.5.
Yeah, the reason we went over is because I think you reminded us that Dwayne Wade carried a much worse Miami team a couple of years ago to like 44, 45 wins, all by himself.
We went under on the Rockets, which is, I think that's our first one that we can just write in that we hit, 47.5. That's not happening.
Yeah, it's a shame, too, because they're a pretty professional team. I mean, I like the way they play. I like watching them.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. The 0-5, it's just at that point they'd have to go 48-29 the rest of the way. That's not happening in the West.
Yep.
Anyway, all right, Joe House. So next time, get earphones.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go online. I got some very helpful tweet links for earphones. So we're going online, and we're going to take the boy, and we're going to rock the red, and then we'll get him to a Wizards game after that.
Pass on one of those links on your Twitter account.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll do that.
House from D.C.
House from D.C. at House from D.C.
All right. Talk to you. Last thing. If you go on Amazon.com, the paperback link for my book is out. And updated the pyramid, added some new material, cut out some of the fat because, unfortunately, the paperback pages runs a little longer than a hardcover. And I didn't want to go past like 700 because it was already too long. So I cut out some material, added some new stuff. And we also have a cool interactive guide that's going to correspond to the pages with YouTube links, clips that accentuate the stuff. Like if I mentioned a Sports Illustrated story or something like that, you'll be able to go on this page and get the link to that, stuff like that. December 7th comes out. And hopefully, right now, if you have Amazon Prime, it's $12. And I think that price will probably drop. So keep an eye on it. The Book of Basketball, paperback. Coming back to you with a 30 for 30 podcast. If you don't subscribe to the 30 for 30 podcast, that is not a BS Report podcast, so check that out with John Hawk, the director of the 30 for 30 about Marcus Dupree, which is fantastic. So until then.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNRadio.com.
Peace out.
We wrap up the BS Report with this final thought. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, so build a better one at Subway with tasty choices like the delicious 250 combo, a 16-ounce cup of freshly brewed Seattle's best coffee, and any scrumptious egg muffin melt. That's a lot of breakfast for a little coin. And for a limited